I'd like to just briefly talk about the technique that I'm going to share with you guys today. It's a method of using hump molds to make larger vessels to sort of speed up the process and allow me to scale my work up a little bit larger without having to rely so heavily on adding coils and then pinching each coil. Previously, I'd been making my work that way, and I was finding that it was taking more time than I would like for the finished product. And then also, like a lot of times, I just wanted the same form over and over again, and pinching that over and over again wasn't particularly interesting to me. And then also, as I get older and repetitive stress injuries become a little more relevant, I needed to find a different way to get from point A to point B. And a lot of times I want, a pretty simple form, like for the base or even for the top. And there's really only minute variation that I'd like to do to make a form be a bit more elegant or have like a bit more of a lift or whatever. So I've used plaster molds and I've used bisque molds, and I'm gravitating more towards bisque molds in my studio, primarily because plaster is a material that you really don't want mixing with your clay. And then just cleaning everything after I do the plaster was troublesome, and it made it hard for me to reclaim everything. I'm trying to operate as close as I can to a zero waste studio, and the plaster would foul up certain things, and then I wouldn't be able to reuse them for anything else except for plaster. Another thing with plaster, this is a good example. I made this to be a sort of cone-shaped bowl with a foot, and you can see it's really heavy, it's really big, it uses a lot of plaster. And then also you have to be really careful when you're cutting and fiddling with it, because the plaster can get in the clay and damage things. Whereas, and they're kind of annoying to store. The hump molds, it can be really thin, it's lightweight, so to speak. I mean, there's some weight there, but they're much more lightweight than the plaster. I can cut using a metal tool on here if I want something that's a little shallower or a little bit deeper. They nest in each other really nicely. So here's a shallower one that I have. I can use any old clay. I actually bought some bags of end run clay from our local ceramic supplier, Continental Clay, and it was like super cheap, like $5 a bag, which is also really nice. I can make the hut molds out of that. There are some limitations, so I wanted to talk about the types of forms that make a good hump mold. Today I'm going to be showing you, doing the demonstration on this IKEA bowl here. I think they still sell these. This is from my cousin's wedding. I like IKEA forms because they tend to be very simple, and you can, and they're very plain, so you're not distracted by a lot of surface decoration. Or you can go to like a thrift store. I actually just redid the lighting in my studio, and I was like gonna throw these away, and then I thought, oh, you know what, this would be a really nice soup bowl. So I haven't made a mold from it yet, but I plan to. This one too. This is actually the inner profile of a type of ramen bowl that I make, and I thought, oh, cool. So I haven't gotten around to it yet, but look at your lighting if you upgrade it. It's nice to keep stuff out of the landfill.